watching the fight, Broc can talk up a fight and really get under an opponent's skin. And obviously, he's already started, with you. Made some comments. I want to talk about how you plan to deal with the verbal back and forth, or verbal attacks that Broc is sure to throw away.
I find the comments that Broc and Frank and those guys like that, I actually find them pretty comical, and I laugh at them. I enjoy them as much as everybody else enjoys them. When I was on the college football field playing football, and there were a lot worse things said on that football field than what you can say in the public's eye here.
Shane, follow up to one of Broc's comments. He called it a fake bell. And, I understand it was a legitimate win, but the fact is the champion is active and he was here. So, do you feel it's tarnished at all by the fact that the champion is active, a fighter, and is planning to fight soon? Do you feel like you've won a championship tonight?
I've said this from the start. This was made an interim championship before we knew the health of Broc and before he came back. And it was probably a couple weeks later that he announced that he was going to be able to come back. So, I was excited that he was back, and the champ's back, and he's the champ, and he's rightly so there.
And Dana, just out of curiosity, why when Broc did come back, did you say, okay, well, the champion is back, so it's no longer for the interim belt? You need the interim when the guy's not there, right?
Because I didn't want to dog these guys, especially this guy again. This guy's been dogged more times in the last, half a year than any fighter we've ever had. We had already made it an interim title fight, and then to go back and say, he's back, never mind. It was already done. The wheels were already in motion, so we kept it an interim title fight. Now these guys will fight at the beginning of the summer.
Shane, I got one more for you. Coming into this fight, there were questions about the quality of your opponents. Do you think this win puts those kind of statements to rest? And I also want you to address when you fight Broc, if the fight goes into the latter rounds, how you plan to deal with that, or will that be an issue?
Honestly, the prior opponents trying to get to the UFC, they're not probably UFC caliber. A few of them are out there, but once you get to the UFC, you're fighting the top guys in the world. And every fight that I get in the UFC, then it keeps adding, to my record and who I am as a person and a fighter. And all I can do is just push forward for every one of those fights. And what was the second part of that question? Oh, it's going into deeper rounds with Broc. That was the plan today with Frank, was to actually go into deeper rounds, so all you guys would quit asking me those questions. Yeah, right. And I was feeling good too.
A couple questions for John. John, on a lighter note, first to start off, I'm always curious what you do with your facial hair after your wins. Can you talk about this look? Because this is an interesting one.
Yeah, it's hard for a lot of the fans to recognize me without the full beard. So I play around with the facial hair, so I go incognito as I walk through the hotel.
Nice. All right. What did you think of GSP's performance?
Very technical. I thought I would have posted up and did a little more ground and pound, with some more elbows. But he controlled the fight. He lost some vital opportunities to finish with the Kimura, the arm bars, and even his back control. Gave up a lot of good positions when he had it back. It was a good fight for him, and I still see flaws in his game, and that's why I want to fight him next.
You were pointing at yourself. Would you like to?
Absolutely. There's nothing more important to me right now than fighting for a title.
Dana,
I'm 12-1 in the UFC. One loss to GSP, and one of my last 4 straight fights. I wish they would all been finishes, but sometimes it doesn't always work out that way. But I'm a better fighter I was than the first time we fought, and I won a title shot.
Yeah, he's in the mix, there's no doubt. He's in the mix. A couple guys at the top of the heavyweight division. Maybe we do him and Koscheck for the number one spot.
Would you be open to that, John?
No, I won't be open to that.
He doesn't want the title shot that bad.
If that fight had to happen, it would happen in our gym. Doors closed.
I would make a lot of money.
My question is for Pellegrino. I was talking to Tim yesterday about kind of the Jersey connection that's going on, and there were a couple Jersey fighters on the card, and they all did pretty well. Do you think there was kind of
fight in New Jersey, especially my home state, I was definitely pumped up and ready to go, and it definitely helped me. But I could have been in Canada, Abu Dhabi, I could have been anywhere, and that was the same person that would have went to that octagon tonight.
Jim, I want to throw the same question at you. I know you talked about it yesterday, but just did you really feel the crowd get into it for you today?
Yeah, that crowd was awesome. They had a lot of energy, and there was a ton of people in there. It was pretty sweet to fight in front of the home state fans, stuff like that.
Question for Shane. Shane, congrats on the win. Right over here. Just wondering if you could go through your feelings before the fight started. Obviously, this isn't your first rodeo, but it's kind of a long layoff for you. What did you feel like? Any special nerves being a title on the line? Broc's here, a lot of stuff going down.
I was definitely a little bit more nervous this time than I tend to be, and it could be, the year off that I've had, or I haven't been in the octagon. The other part is that my wife had to stay home with our new daughter, and she's usually here with me all week and makes me laugh and keeps me pretty calm. I felt confident in our game plan and what we worked on, and when I go in there, like I said, I go in there to destroy guys. I don't go in there to try to eke out decisions.
Question for Kurt. Kurt, you had talked before the fight about the changes you had made to your training regimen and how you were excited to see what you were going to be able to do. The fight didn't go the distance, obviously, but could you tell the difference in your training?
For me personally, absolutely. I think the crowd and Dana and Joe Silva definitely saw a different person in that octagon. I really, owe a lot of my cardio with Coach John Chamber. I brought him in, and I work with Kenny and Keith so much, and they said, if you want to get to that next level, bring him in. And I brought him in, and I did those workouts. I tried to kill myself, pass out, puke, and I didn't. I never puked once, but I tried. So when I was in there, I was talking to the boys, and I was having a really good time. I saw Jeff Black, and I was like, hey, what's going on? And I felt the best I've ever felt in my life, and I think there's more of those fights to come. So, I wasn't tired, and that was a pretty fast pace with jiu-jitsu, and once they didn't choke to death. So it was fun. Definitely ready for the next one.
I'm still going with Batman. Did you after that slam when he hit his head on the mat, did you feel it start to go weak?
To be honest, he was completely knocked out. He froze. I turned around, and his eyes were rolled in the back of his head, and he was like frozen and stuck on me. And when I was able to get around, I thought that he was going to stop the fight, because when I turned around, he was out. And by me just hitting him a little bit, kind of woke him up, which is the weirdest thing. Is there a doctor in the house? Why does that happen? Why do you wake up? You're knocked out, you punch him, you wake up.
I always wondered about that too.
And Dana, do you have the latest on Thiago Alves?
Yeah, Thiago went to the best specialist in the country. He's got to have a minor procedure done next week, and then he's back in the mix again. So that's good news.
Dana?
Yep.
Sorry if the guys with funny accents, you were a bit single-minded, but you spoke about Dan and maybe the reaction to the fight from the online community not being 100% positive. I think the British fans might feel a little bit differently about that. Do you think maybe to the US fans, Dan has shown what the Brits have kind of known for a while, that he has that kind of Sakuraba spirit, that he will not die? Do you think that came across?
Oh, no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. Dan Hardy, won over a lot of fans tonight. I guarantee you that. He's a tough, durable guy. He went 5 rounds with the best 170-pounder in the world. He did. He definitely gained some fans tonight. And he found out where he's really at. For a lot of guys, you think you go in and fight a guy like George St. Pierre and you lose, he'll be down and bummed out. Actually, Dan Hardy's got a lot to be proud of tonight. He knows exactly where he stands in the 170-pound division. He knows what he needs to work on and what holes he needs to fill in his game. And I think tonight was a positive night for Dan Hardy.